loud sound that seemed to fade. Came back like a slow voice on a wave of fate. That weren't no DJ, that was hazy cosmic jive. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me.
And where else? Where else, I ask you, would you hear a somewhat obscure David Bowie song as bumper music, except on a show produced by Lola Miller and featuring Butch Maxwell and a complete waste of air time.
See, I know that you like the more obscure things.
I do, and I
It
appreciate
gives me
it.
great pleasure. See, when the girls are on, I can play all kind of
Girly stuff,
yeah.
right.
And, and with you,
With me, it's going to be that more edgy kind of, new wave-ish, glam rock, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yep, very good. Yep.
And then when Bill's on, it's all like,
Yeah. Oh, did you find that song I told you about?
Yes,
with Bill?
I did.
I'd never heard it before, but I was doing some research on 50s music, and those who regular listeners know this is usually Bill DeFabio's time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Bill loves oldies. He loves 50s stuff, which really kind of amazes me because he was born in the 50s. See, he really doesn't remember that. But anyway, he loves that stuff. So I found this song that kind of taunts Bill a little bit, and I suggested that Lola bring it up next time we're together on the
yeah,
air.
I
So,
wasn't here Friday.
Right,
to be able
yeah,
to do it,
yeah.
but yeah, I saved it.
Yeah,
because
good.
It was not the easiest thing in the world to find.
Was it? Okay,
you know?
yeah.
So I bookmarked it.
Oh, great. Yeah. So maybe Friday, if you can remember,
Yeah,
we'll bring it up.
we can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Okay. Well, at the risk of making someone else's blood boil, maybe I'll just pass on talking a whole lot more about Donald Trump and about the coup attempt. We can always get back to that, but there's other stuff that we can talk about, like the fact that we're probably in for kind of a tough winter. Now,
Tough how?
Tough how?
Weather-wise
Well,
or
not so much
COVID-wise?
COVID-wise, flu,
Just
healthcare professionals.
hockey-wise?
Basically. Yeah, well, mostly I'm thinking about the healthcare and healthcare professionals
right.
and what they're going to have to be dealing with. The U.S. is battling rising death tolls and strained hospital resources under the COVID-19 pandemic, and it could all be made much more difficult by the upcoming flu season. The Associate Dean of Public Health at Brown University, Dr. Megan Rainey, said yesterday, we're bracing ourselves for an awfully busy winter ahead. So the United States is already at a point where an average of more than 2,000 people are dying a day, every single day, of COVID-19. So on top of that, then we're going to have flu season coming up. However, what can you do about that? Well, a couple of things. One is get a flu shot.
Wow.
Yeah, what a concept. It's probably just about the right time to think about it. I mean, in this case, I'm going to say, delay it by a week or two. That's fine. But sometime in October, get your flu shot, especially if you are in any way compromised, have any kind of pre-existing condition, a little COPD or heart problems or any kind of respiratory issues. Definitely get the flu shot. Now, the flu shot is not nearly as effective at preventing flu as the COVID-19 vaccine is, and we don't really know what the efficacy rate is, but because it depends. Every year there's kind of a new concoction, and what the scientists try to do is figure out what strains of influenza virus are most likely to infect the widest widest group in the population. So it's hit or miss, and yes, you can get the flu after you've had a flu inoculation, but it is generally more than 50% effective. So by all means, are you going to get a flu shot? Lola?
Absolutely, because I have had, everybody, they get a stomach bug, and, you feel bad for a few days. I have had influenza.
Yeah, yeah.
And believe me, you do not want to go through. In fact, it was a solid week of such a high fever. I talked to people. I had no idea. I
Yeah.
did.
Delirium. Yeah.
I was just it's so out of it. Linda was coming, taking a bus once a day, coming to the house
Yeah.
to take care of the dog and the cats. And, it just, I don't even remember her being there.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and this is the weird part. I am so lucky. When I first started getting sick, I was in Plaza Suite at Towngate.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the last night, Tim said, just go down, lay on the couch, because you're only in one act,
Yeah.
to wait for, the final curtain call and stuff. And I vaguely remember that. I don't know how, well, and you know how I am with lines. I vaguely remember them on a good day. But I was just fortunate that, the people I was in closest contact with did not get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never want to get, it was the pig flu.
Oh, boy,
And
swine flu.
I
yeah.
never want to go through that again.
Yeah.
I mean, it was scary.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really scary.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee that a flu vaccine will keep you from getting flu, but your chances are considerably less. And
Well, and you might not get quite as sick anyway.
yeah.
I mean, that's the tip.
sure, yeah. If I could be less sick, if I
Yeah.
gotta get sick, I'm going to go for that. I don't want to miss. I don't want to. I'm so busy. I can't imagine missing a day or two of work. I mean, and I'm one of those rare people who actually likes my job. I like what I do. I'm lucky in that way. But I don't want to miss it ever. And, nobody does. So get that. The other thing I was going to suggest, other than getting the flu vaccine in order to avoid getting flu, is what you should be doing already. Wear a mask in public places. If you're going to be inside for any length of time, wear a mask. And it will help somewhat to protect you. And of course, in a bigger sense, it also protects people around you, and it also encourages behavior that is socially what we should be doing, which is trying to protect one another. We wear masks to protect other people, not so much ourselves. Although it will give you some protection. Somebody sneezes on you or something, you might be a little more protected if your mouth and your nose are covered up. It just makes sense. This is just common sense. You can generally get vaccines by vaccines just by going to CVS or Walgreens or Kroger or whatever your
And
pharmacy
your
is.
insurance will pay for
Yeah,
it.
it'll pay for it if you're insured. You're covered. So I think if you're on Medicare or Medicaid, you can be covered. So is that okay? I just want to make sure I'm not saying something wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
No, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So, all right. Another thing that is coming up in the news now that's a little bit disturbing to me is that next week there's a big vote in Congress on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and this has been kind of a two-tiered process whereby there's a budget reconciliation part that only has to have you only have to have 51% majority in the Senate to pass. Normally, the Senate rules say that you have to have 60 people, or there could be a filibuster that could just interrupt the legislation and it wouldn't go through. So the budget reconciliation has a little different rules. 50%, so they need 50 votes plus one to pass that. And they're pretty sure they have it. But but there are some progressives who are now saying that they're not going to vote for it, and so they're still haggling over this. This is a little bit of inside the Beltway stuff, but there is some concern, and for a change, it's not Joe Manchin that is throwing people into a tizzy, but it's people like Bernie Sanders who Bernie Sanders is in the Senate, so he could be a spoiler. So, we're going to have to see how all that plays out.
Well,
But
I have something to say.
yeah, what do you have?
We need that infrastructure bill that has passed the Senate and is now back to the House. This country desperately needs that. Aside from the fact that, roads are falling apart, bridges are falling apart, electrical grids can't keep up, they're falling apart.
Right.
Our weather has changed so dramatically
Yeah.
that we've got to do something to protect the infrastructure that we already have.
Right.
To link that to an extraordinarily expensive and at the moment unnecessary bill and throw it in as reconciliation just ticks me off. So it's, these progressives are saying, if we can't have all of it, then nobody's going to get any of it.
Yeah.
And Nancy Pelosi, grow some,
Yeah.
and
Kahunas,
get your people in line.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your job.
Yeah.
That is your job. And to be afraid of these progressives is just unbelievable. But they have just enough in their caucus to throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing. How selfish can you be? Get the one pass. Then you can haggle over all the other stuff. Because let's face it, the federal government never does anything quickly.
No.
So, you've got years to go ahead and argue this because you've been arguing all this kind of stuff for years anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I get.
I can tell, and it's good though. I like to see your blood boil a little bit once in a while too. The fact that it's just amazing that the Democrats are constantly able to shoot themselves in the foot, whereas Republicans they line up, they get in line. Everybody get in line, and if you don't get in line, then you're chastised, like Liz Cheney or somebody like that. Who ever thought we'd see a day? If you asked me early in the Bush administration. Would the Cheney family ever be too moderate for the Republican Party? I'd say you're crazy. They're the far right of the party, and now look. It's really kind of gone off the deep end.
Well, because she is a true Republican conservative.
Yeah.
This whole Trump party that is now dominating, and it's all. I would venture to say, if you could actually ask these people, and be sworn to secrecy, they don't go along with most of this crap. I mean, there's a few that probably do. But they're just pandering to the money and their chicken poop to even try and do anything because they're terrified of the money that the Trump organization has in their pocket.
Yeah.
And that is shameful.
It is.
That is just shameful.
It is. We just had a Republican congressman who voted for the impeachment of Donald Trump just to come out and say that he was not going to run again.
Yep.
I think he was in the Cleveland area, but in Ohio. I know he's in Ohio.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's going to get primaried, and it's going to be from the right. It's going to be somebody who worships at the throne of Donald Trump.
The golden throne.
Yeah, right. And golden throne is right. So it's just it's a shame. It's such a shame because while I've never been a registered Republican myself, I've been an independent all my life. But because I'm a Marxist. I'm a Groucho Marxist, not a I'm a Groucho Marxist. I would not join any party that would have me as a member. So that's my that's my philosophy. But my parents were both Republicans, and much of my family of origin were Republicans. I mourn the old Republican Party, the one that had solid family values and believed in small government instead of interfering with how people's reproductive rights go. That's not small government, they weren't xenophobic, and they actually did things like, yeah, the Nixon administration, they passed the Clean Water Act there. There were, you can look at over the years, and they weren't anti-progress. They were a little slower on progress, sure. That's part of what being a conservative is. Let's go slow. Let's make sure this is right.
Yeah.
But they weren't anti-progress. But that seems to be what everything is now. Everything's turn back the clock. Let's put up walls on our borders. Let's not take in any more immigrants. This is a country that was built on immigration, and now suddenly we're going to say no more immigrants. That's nuts. That's just nuts. And it's not sustainable either. We're facing, because climate change is real, because it's happening. What we really need to do now is just take measures for what is inevitable. There's going to be an inevitable global disruption, and we're going to have so many refugees from so many, especially third world countries, where they don't have the infrastructure to handle the weather changes. We're going to have huge ones in this country. We need to do more for our shorelines. We've got to make sure that we're going to have hurricanes and tornadoes that are going to be much stronger than they ever have. Wildfires. There's so much. So we do need this infrastructure bill, and in fact, we do need to, like the president said, build back better. We've got to do it better this time too. Yeah. We've got to do it. We don't even have an electrical grid in this country, so there is so much we need to do. Ah, boy. Hey, my blood's starting to boil now.
Better?
I am. I am.
Too.
I'm awake and I'm ready to go. Hey, I have had a great time today, as I usually do here on the Watchdog Network. You've wasted another perfectly good hour with me, and I appreciate that you did that. My plan is to be back here again, same bat time, same bat channel next week at 2 o'clock, right here on the Watchdog Network. Everybody have a good day, and if you're tune in to Bill DeFabio, I'll talk to you on Friday. See you.